Please stand and welcome class 173. Forward, march, left, right, left, right, left, right. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. On behalf of the entire staff of the Mississippi State Fire Academy, we'd like to welcome you to the graduation ceremony of the National Fire Protection Association 1001 Firefighter Class number 173. Before we begin our ceremony today, I would call on firefighter recruit Robert Tyler Moore from the Columbus Fire Department for our invocation.
If you would, bow your heads. Lord, thank you for allowing us to be here today with our family and friends. You have been with us through so much over the last 7 weeks, from challenging tests to being physically exhausted. It has definitely been tough, but you have been there the whole time watching over us, keeping us safe, helping us continue going when we didn't think we could. Father, thank you for all the instructors who you gave the knowledge to teach us how to be firefighters. God, I pray that you would be with Class 173, like in Deuteronomy 31:8. It is the Lord who goes before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. Do not fear or be dismayed. And Lord, also guide and keep safe every member of Class 173 as we go through our careers as firefighters, and continue to allow the instructors to share their knowledge with many more people to come. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Seven weeks ago, these men and women came to the State Fire Academy to begin their careers in the fire service. I'm sure they had heard what it would take to be a firefighter, the character, the traits, everything that makes a firefighter. The hard work that's included, the teamwork that's involved with it, the dedication, the courage, and the sacrifice that each firefighter does. They came here representing the future of the fire service, not only of our great state, but our great nation. And they came from across the state of Mississippi. From the northern part of the state, the Olive Branch Fire Department, Columbus Fire Department, from the central part of the state, Canton Fire Department, Clinton Fire Department, Pearl Fire Department, Richland Fire Department, Ridgeland Fire Department, and Vicksburg Fire Department. From the southern part of our state, the Laurel Fire Department, Natchez Fire Department, Picayune Fire Department, and Ocean Springs Fire Department. Let's give them a hand. Class 173, you have started your careers in one of the world's most honored but yet hazardous profession. Every year since September the 11th, 2001, that famous day, Firefighting has been ranked as the most prestigious occupation in America, followed by teachers and scientists. This places each one of you in a very elite category of our nation. Each year, firefighting ranks as one of the world's most top 5 hazardous occupations. Outside of wartime, it is usually the #1 most hazardous. Just recently, a Forbes study was released that firefighting is the second most stressful occupation in America. But you came here to learn the knowledge and the skills that it would take to become a firefighter, to be a successful firefighter. You were trained to make a positive difference when literally seconds counts. And usually it's when someone's having the absolute worst day of their life. You were trained by one of the finest staffs ever assembled anywhere. And they taught you 3 things: to save lives, to save property, but most importantly, to do it safely. Never forget the people that supported you in your effort here. Your family, your friends, the mayors of your cities, your fire chiefs, your fire department, the instructors, not only these, but the ones that you will have throughout your career. And lastly, the citizens that you're sworn to protect. Remember those. Guys and girls, this is your State Fire Academy. I want to encourage you to continue to excel in training and education. It very well could be the difference that brings you home safely to your family. Good luck to every single one of you, and I want to thank each one of you for choosing the fire service. Thank you.
Good afternoon. The State Fire Academy trains a little over 15,000 firefighters from all across the United States each year. There's 3 instructional bureaus that deliver this training to a wide variety of first responders throughout our country. The Certification Bureau is charged with delivering the Firefighter NFPA 1001 recruit class. Let me take just a second to introduce these guys to you. Starting over to my left is Instructor Sean Sinclair, Senior Advanced Instructor Rob Fisher, Senior Advanced Instructor Marcus Collier, Senior Advanced Instructor Clarence Parks. On the front row in front of those guys is Senior Instructor Matt Hinkle, Instructor Barry Burnside. On the stage to my left is Senior Advanced Instructor Bill Trimble, and the class coordinator for this firefighter class is Senior Advanced Instructor Will Cockey. If you would, join me in a round of applause for these individuals. One other person I want to mention to you is sitting down over here to their side is Rebecca Cahoon, our administrative assistant, who does a great job keeping all of our paperwork together. So thank you, Rebecca, also. Just a couple words to you guys as y'all go and graduate and move off into the world. Just don't forget the feeling you felt the day you took the application and said, hey, I want to be a fireman. We've talked about that before in this class, and we've tried to stress the importance to you and the responsibility that's now placed on your back and your shoulders as you step out on that watchful guard of our communities. You know, a few groups of individuals throughout our communities have the same traits that each of y'all have. Our law enforcement people have it, our military has it, and our firefighters have it. It's that little thing called courage. And it's not the kind of courage you're thinking about when you say, hey, I'm not going to order a cheeseburger today, I'm going to order a salad, or I'm going to get up a little early in the morning and do a little extra workout in the gym. It's the kind of courage that comes where you're going to say, I'm going to sacrifice my life for someone else's, or your life's more important than mine. It's that kind of courage that each of y'all instill inside of each of you. All we've done over the last 7 weeks is just remind you of it, and reminds you of the importance of it. So you have that trait about you. And as you go back into our communities and you drift back into the normal lifestyles of our life every day, you'll have those things come out from time to time. When a loved one's no longer breathing, or there's a car upside down in the ditch, or someone's house is on fire. You're the ones we look to. So as you leave here today, remember the feeling it took to put that application in, to tap into that side of the courage inside your body to say, hey, I'm ready to serve. The State Fire Academy appreciates your service. The fire service needs you desperately on our shifts and our stations in our communities. God bless each of you, and good luck in your career.
Right, over here. Good. Right in control.
I don't remember them saying I'd have to watch a man take his last breath with his wife and daughter at his chest, or to see a family's home go up in flames, knowing they just lost everything. But we've got to know we did our best. Go on and don't worry about the past. Try to make a difference in this crazy world today, 'cause you know God made us that way. I never thought I'd see the terror in a mother's eyes as she watched her 15-year-old die, or to feel the fire slap me in the face as it moves through this house at a steady pace. But we've got to know we did our best. Go on, don't worry about the past. Try to make a difference in this crazy world today. 'Cause you know God made us that way. And I hope to God I never have to see a brother fall in battle at a fire we can't defeat. We've got to know we did our best. Go on and don't worry about the past. Try to make a difference in this crazy world today. 'Cause you know God made us that way. You know God made firefighters that way.
I'd like to thank William Searcy for our class video, and that song at the end of the video was written and sung by an instructor chief here at the State Fire Academy over the Curriculum Bureau named Shannon Sandridge. At this time, I'd like to welcome Edward Nordan from the Clinton Fire Department to be a class speaker for Class 173. Good afternoon. I am Edward Nordan, the city of Clinton. When we were discussing who it was going to deliver or be the class speaker, they decided that it was going to have to be the best looking firefighter. So naturally, here I am. So you're all welcome for that. I promised my chief that I would try to keep this brief and I wouldn't make it too hard to follow. So, 20 years ago, almost to the day, I was in another uniform at another graduation at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. That was another very proud day for me. One of the most important things that the drill instructors work to instill all the recruits in our 13 weeks there are the values of the United States Marine Corps that define every way that a Marine thinks, acts, and fights. The values of honor, courage, and commitment. I believe that these values also hold true to the fire service and every day of our lives. Honor. The Oxford English Dictionary defines honor as high respect, great esteem, the quality of knowing and doing what is morally right, and a privilege. I am very honored to be here today, and so should all of you here in the front. What you have earned is a privilege. Embrace that privilege and live with honor in your chosen profession, and honor those that have come before you and those whose names are on the monument outside of this building and other memorials in every state across this great nation. The next is courage, which should need no explanation. You all had the courage to step up to live this life, knowing full well what you may be called on to do. You'll need this courage to go where others won't, see things that others don't want to, and carry the weight of many things that others can't find, or others can't, and find the courage to go further when you think that there's nothing left. This is why we're all here, because of our courage. And finally, commitment. To me, all of this is something that I do not take lightly. This is not a job. Jobs come and go. This is a career, and what we do is a lifestyle. When you leave a job at the end of the day and go home, your day is done and you are no longer at your job. We don't get to do that. We are always firefighters. We are always EMTs and paramedics. We are always the rescue. We have made that commitment to ourselves, to our families, and to our communities. 20 years. It's a long time. I often joke with some of the firefighters here that I have tattoos older than they are, or I'm old enough to be their dad, which is true, but I refuse for now to let time get the best of me. The instructors here have stressed the importance of time. more often than most of us would have liked, and usually in some sort of exhausting and painful way, but it is imperative nonetheless. 15 minutes early is on time. On time is too late. What time did the call come in? How long will it take us to get there? When was the fire reported? When was the last time that they were seen? These are questions that we will hear many times that we will need to have answers for quickly and with a purpose. The clock does not stop and it does not slow down. Utilize and make the most of every minute that you have. I wish that my father could be here today to see me standing up here talking to you, and I'm sure that he would be very proud if he was, but there wasn't enough time. Don't waste it, and don't let it get the best of you. Musician and writer Henry Rollins said something about the importance of time that hit me hard, and I think about it nearly every day when I feel myself getting stagnant. Rollins said, "There's no such thing as spare time. There's no such thing as free time. There's no such thing as downtime. All you've got is lifetime. Go." Thank you, families and friends, fellow firefighters and law enforcement officers. Thank you, instructors of the Mississippi State Fire Academy, and thank you, brothers and sisters of Class 173. Congratulations.
I would like to welcome you all to the Fire Academy. As class coordinator for the class, I really enjoyed my time with y'all. I told y'all in the beginning, everybody probably wouldn't be here today, and I think y'all found out that was the case. It's been an honor for me to be here with y'all and see y'all make it through this. Started out with 31 people, and we were going to graduate with 22. It's a big class, so we have to have people to help us relay our message to our students, to have them on there on time, have them be here on time, pretty much everything throughout the day. So we have to have class officers. At this time, I'd like to recognize the class officers for Class 173. We have Captain Autry Dunbar from the Ridgeland Fire Department. First Lieutenant Rashida Crawford from the Ocean Springs Fire Department. The second lieutenant is Jason Smith from the Richland Fire Department. These guys and girls made our job as instructors a whole lot easier, relaying our message to y'all and getting where from point A to B, even though sometimes they even screwed it up. All right, during the time we're here, we take a little over 30-something tests. And believe it or not, the final tally on who the valedictorian for the class was settled by less than a point. At this time, I'd like to welcome Joel Smith from the Law Fire Department with the highest GPA. And we all think y'all know now that it's not only mental, but it's also a physical challenge. The person who was the most physically fit firefighter for Class 173 is Hunter McElray from the Picayune Fire Department. When you leave here today, if you look on your right, you'll see a sign that says, "Have you made a difference today?" This is for someone who throughout the whole class has had a super positive attitude, has been a motivator, done everything you ask to do with a positive attitude, helped motivate their entire class to have the same attitude. And that person is Sarah Lynn Durrett from the Olive Branch Fire Department. Like I said earlier, 7 short weeks ago, we all came together as a class of 30 individuals. All right. Everybody knows how 30 individuals with most of them type A personalities kind of clash in the beginning. Well, sometimes it can be a logistical nightmare for us as well as the class leaders. We didn't have any major deals go with this class. It kind of flowed really, really well. when you come together as a team, you get a class flag. The class flag was attained by this class in week 4 when they were truly bonded and became one unit. And their class flag is right over here.
At this time, Class 173 retired the class flag back to the State Fire Academy.
The flag that you just saw presented back to the State Fire Academy, Class 173 flag, might look like a simple piece of nylon, but that represents every single one of you in Class 173. You are now instilled into the State Fire Academy and will be forever. The Mississippi Fire Academy is a division of the Mississippi Insurance Department. Insurance Commissioner and State Fire Marshal Mike Chaney wanted to be here today to congratulate you, but he was called out of town. But he wanted me to relay to you how proud he is for your dedication and your service for the citizens of the state of Mississippi. So that's from him. Our guest speaker today was born back in 1962 in the city of Laurel. Him and his family moved to Clinton in 1969. He started as a volunteer with the Clinton Fire Department in 1985, where on his own paid for his own way to come out to the State Fire Academy to receive the same class that you're graduating from today. That same year, he also earned his emergency medical technician's certification. He started full-time in Clinton in 1994 with the Clinton Fire Department. From 2009 to 2016, he served as training officer for the Clinton Fire Department. And from 2016 until present, he is serving as the fire chief of the city of Clinton. He has over 2,000 hours of training with the Mississippi Fire Academy, LSU Fire Academy, and the National Fire Academy in Emmitsburg, Maryland. He's a graduate of Clinton High School and a graduate of Mississippi State University with a degree in accounting. Please help me welcome the fire chief for the city of Clinton, Chief Jeff Blackledge.
Good afternoon. I want to welcome friends and family and all like that here for this monumental event of your children growing up, becoming a firefighter. First, I want to say what a privilege and an honor it is to be speaking to you today. I had to ponder when I was asked to do this, what does it take, or what do you have to be a firefighter? And I can tell you this, none of the people that have spoken today, we did not talk, but guess what? We all said courage and integrity came out, but you have to have courage. You know, I think y'all have mastered the courage part. You lasted 7 weeks without killing anybody, and you're sitting here proudly. The integrity part of it, what does integrity really mean? Okay. Integrity to me is doing the right thing when nobody is watching or you don't think anybody is watching. Many times in your career, excuse me, you'll or you will have many times in your career when no one is watching you and you could shortcut what you're doing to get finished with a task, or because you don't like what the task is. But there could be that small child that looks up to you over in the corner watching you and all like that. And you're going to ask yourself, well, is anybody going to notice my shortcomings? Yes, they will. All right. On to a fun side of this. Y'all thought you were through with class. Okay. We're not. Do y'all know how the Dalmatians got linked into the fire service? You don't have to all answer at one time. But I'm gonna tell you, back in the 1800s, our fire engines were horse-drawn carriages. Okay. So they were in the firehouse. Horses are very, very particular. They don't like to be by themselves. They like companions, and a dog was a good companion for the horses. So they decided to get dogs in there to be companions for them. The other thing was that in the 1800s, in the firehouses, guess what they had? Horses were worth money. Fire equipment was worth money. People would go in there and steal it and try to sell it, for somebody else to make money. Of course, that still goes on some today, not so much the horses part. But anyway, horses are not solitary animals. They prefer to be with, like I said, a companion. So that was one left alone too long. They're going to grow restless and neurotic sometimes. Dalmatians, it was discovered that more than any other breed of dog, formed an amazingly close bond with the horses. They became quite protective of the horses. So in the middle of the night, if somebody came and tried to steal the horse, the dogs would wake up and they would chase off the thief, or they would wake up the other firemen to try to get them. The other thing they were used for is when the bell would ring to signal for a fire. The dogs would start barking. They would run out into the street, so it may. They would warn everybody that the horses and the carriages were fixing to come to try to clear the way. The last thing that they did is once they got to the fire, they would unhook the horses from the carriage, move the horses over into a field so they could fight fire, because, horses are scared of fire. They don't like fire. And so the Dalmatians would go over there and they would lay down with the horses, keep the horses calm. Bet y'all didn't know that, did you? All right. Second piece of history that I want to tell you about is the fire pole. Do y'all know where the fire pole came from? I'm fixing to tell you. It was a device invented in the 1870s by Captain David Kenyon of the Chicago Fire Department. Captain Kenyon was working in a 3-story firehouse, because back then you had to have 3 floors. You had the bottom floor where you kept the carriages and the horses. You had the second floor where the recreation would take place and sleeping, and then you had to have a place to keep the hay. So the hay was kept on the 3rd floor. To haul the hay from the hay fields and everything, they would use what they call a binding pole. They would tie that down, tie the hay down to the wagons, and they would bring it in. They would untie the binding pole. They would lean it up, and they would start unloading the hay and have to take it up to the 3rd floor. There was a call came in, and they were up there on the 3rd floor, and they needed to get down. So one of the firefighters decided that I'm going to slide down this pole that I've got. I'm not sure how many splinters he got, but he slid down a pole, and they saw that as a way to incorporate this into the fire service. So Captain Kenyon went to the fire chief and he said, "Look, I've got an idea. I want to take this on." And he convinced the chief of the department to pursue designing and installation of the poles in his fire station, which was Station 21. After that, they became the butt of many, many jokes and everything. But the chief finally realized that guess who was getting to the fire scenes first? Engine Company 21. So it was decided at that time that they would have fire poles in all of the fire stations. A lot of people think that the fire pole started was in Boston, but it wasn't. Boston had the first brass fire pole. So that's kind of your history lesson for today. And I know y'all thought you were through with it, but I want to say this real quick. and it won't take long. But when you started working for your respective fire departments, you probably called people, your friends and stuff like that, to let them know that, hey, I got a job as a fireman. I am fixing to make something of myself. Little kids are going to look up to you. They're going to want to emulate you. So I want you to remember one thing. Everything you say, everything you do, everything you wear, everything you post on Facebook reflects on you as an individual. It reflects on the fire service. It reflects on your fire department, and it reflects on me. So act accordingly, please. You have a chance to make a difference. A firefighter one time was asked, "What do you make?" His response was this, and I'm going to read this one verbatim. I make holding your hand seem like the biggest thing in the world when I'm cutting you out of a car. I make those annoying sirens seem like angels when you need them. I make your children breathe again when they stop. I make you survive a heart attack. I make myself get out of bed at 3 a.m. to risk my life to save someone I've never met. Tonight, I might make the ultimate sacrifice to save your life. I make a difference. What do you make? As you leave the academy today, I want you to take one thing away. Don't be a stranger to this place. You spent 7 weeks here learning the grounds, and I'm sure that you have run the fence lines and everything else. And you're probably thinking, I am not coming back to this place. It gets better. Trust me. Okay. It does get better, but don't be a stranger here. Come back, take more classes, become an instructor. Okay. Strive to do the best that you can do in the fire service, and be that person that little boy or little girl wants to be when they look up at you. It's like, I want to be just like him. Okay. All right. One last thing I'm going to leave you with is to remember one thing. Your life is made up of 2 dates and a dash. Make the most of your dash. Okay. Godspeed. Thank you.
Daniel Allen. Corey Carlson. William Clements. Rashida Crawford. Autry Dunbar. Sarah Lynn Durrett. Reginald Galloway. Andre Johnson. Hunter McElray. Chase Mitchell. Robert Moore. Edward Nordan. Skylar Price. Jason Smith. Joel Smith. Bryce Spence. Christopher Allen. I'm sorry, Christopher Sullivan. Nicholas Washington. Nicholas Welch. Derek Williams. Joel Williams. Connor Wilson.
Ladies and gentlemen, by the power invested in the Mississippi State Fire Academy, I now award Class 173 the designation of firefighters in the state of Mississippi. God bless you all.